Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the Beanie Boy, not Dave Meltzer, but your fave Meltzer, the South African Wrestling Observer, and welcome back to yet another Stomp video. As you can see, I am joined by the hardest working, the always ready, no, not Matt Cardona, but WrestleDrop himself, Ricardo, and we're here to talk about, oh my goodness, it's time to play the game. Sorry. We're here to talk about Sasha Banks and Naomi coming back to the WWE. It was announced last week, depending on when you're watching it, last week, this week, that the women's tag team championships are coming back and they'll be decided in a tournament, aka Sasha and Naomi are coming back. That's basically what they're telling us. So we're here to speak about it, kind of fantasy book it, the return of our women's tag team champions, Sasha Banks and Naomi. But before we get into it, Mr. WrestleDrop, how are you feeling?
Excited. The reign, not the reign of terror, like he previously had Triple H.
Like the previous reign.
The reign of Triple H right now in WWE has got me excited. Got me really excited. The PG era is over. The modern day era is over, whatever they call it. It's now the Hunter era, the era of Triple H, and
the Hunter of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. We'll get into the new era of WWE in another video when there's more of us, including the Fire of Pro Wrestling, which I know you guys always enjoy. But today we're here to talk about, like I said, Sasha Banks and Naomi coming back. Firstly, as a point of departure, as I like to say, it was meant to happen. It was meant to happen because even the way they left was very controversial. But I don't even think controversial is the right word. I just feel like it made no sense for them to leave. And I mean that from a fan perspective, because 1 week they're there, the next day they're not. And obviously there's all the speculation because we're not backstage, so we don't know what happened. We don't know the interaction, but we have the speculation as fans as to what could have happened. Then we hear reports and dirt sheets. But from a fan perspective, I feel we were left very disappointed when we heard that they had gone. But now things are changing. It's all about the game and how you play it. And the Hunter Hearst Helmsley era is here. Paul Levesque is here, head of creative, and he has pretty much guaranteed that they're coming back. How do you feel about Naomi and Sasha coming back to our
Firstly,
team?
are we reading too much into this? Because you saying this means they're coming back. You sound like you've got the dirt sheets on top of your table sitting there. You sound like you know what's going on. I know you call yourself a South African Wrestling Observer, but come on. What's your sources, bro?
I went to Dave Meltzer's training academy.
The tomato sauce and mustard in your kitchens, not the right sauces, bro. Come on.
Trust me, bro.
But I think them coming back is a big possibility, for sure. And Vince is gone, who we, according to sources, real sources, not your sources, we know that they had an issue with on that night. He was involved in that. And John Laurinaitis, who is now officially in the unemployed line, is they also had an issue with him. So 2 people that we know they had an issue with, gone. Just like that. So
it makes sense when you put it like that, because I don't wanna speculate, and I don't wanna say things that will require you to ask me about my sources. But we can almost guarantee that there are a few future endeavored superstars who will be coming back. Karrion Kross is the most recent example. And I think that's because the path has cleared, so to speak. Vince is gone, Johnny Ace is gone. And so it leaves room for people who are disgruntled by those people in particular, And Triple H is credible. Triple H is a guy's guy. Everyone loves Triple H, especially the job he does in creative or in management.
It's crazy.
So I feel like them coming back is,
It's crazy how times have changed. Everybody loves Triple H now. But back in the day,
Exactly.
that golden shovel used to come out on a weekly basis. But
And
now,
that's the thing.
Now he's bringing up talent. Before he used to bury talent. That's crazy how the tables have turned.
The tables have turned, and I think that's the irony of this entire thing, you know, because everyone cried about Triple H being the gatekeeper in the company, and now he's the one opening the gates, you know. So it's crazy. But back to Sasha and Naomi, if they do come back, according to dirt sheets,
according to your mustard and tomato sauce, they're coming back. So.
According to trust me, bro, if they do come back, what do you see? What do you see happening with them?
Firstly, I see a lot of people saying this was now after Bayley returned, and we heard that Becky was injured, so now we knew that Bianca was on her own against 3. People were saying she should come back and return, and they should come back and team up with Bianca. And I was like, how can you bring them back as faces? After all that, after WWE saying how unprofessional they were, even though they might not have been, even though we as fans know that's not the case, how can you bring them back as faces? Because that's just undermining the company at that point, which is not best for business, as we used to hear. So how can you bring them back as faces? Like they can't be faces. The perfect thing, bring them back as heels. Or that might not work because maybe they'll get cheered too much. So maybe you got to bring them back as like badass faces. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the Moxley type, the Stone Cold type, the face, but still a badass, still does heelish things. I don't know. It's a difficult situation because I see them coming back as faces makes no sense. Long-term storytelling, all of that, which we cry out for, but now we want to just throw it away.
Always. Yeah. And I think
at the same time,
it's crazy. I never thought about it like that. I never thought about it.
I've been thinking about it.
That yes, they left as faces and all that rubbish happened, and they can't come back the same way they left because of everything and they made it public.
Exactly.
How, as you're saying, unprofessional, and them coming back as faces, trying to get people to cheer would be like, yeah, we did that and we're sorry. Whereas they would be apologizing for something that they may not have even done the way we've been told that they've done. So
I didn't think about that either. But the fact that they would walk out, come back, and now they're wanting people will cheer regardless. But now they will, their whole character wanting people to cheer for them won't make sense. I didn't think about that, what you just said. Why would they want the cheers at that point? They pissed off. Long-term story-wise telling. They pissed off. They should be upset. That's why I say they could still be a face, but maybe a face going against management. But in the same breath, that management's gone. So it's a whole mess up.
So who are they going against? Exactly.
It's
because now the problem isn't Vince.
This is why we're trying to fantasy book it. This is exactly why.
Yeah.
This is exactly why.
I think another thing they can't do, especially because the company is on the heels of creating another stable, that being Bayley, S.A.W.O, and Dakota. They can't come back as heels either, because then, I mean, that's the match, if they book it correctly, that we want to see. You know, S.A.W.O and Dakota against Sasha and Naomi. That to me that would be an amazing match. But we can't have that match if all 4 of them are heels. You know? So it's going to be very tricky. I feel like if done correctly, which I feel Triple H has the potential to do, they can definitely bring them back as faces, but those Stone Cold-esque faces.
Yeah.
Those John Moxley-esque faces, as you're saying. Yeah. So I think, speaking of that, on that point, I feel like that would be the best feud they can have on their return. S.A.W.O and Dakota.
Yeah, and I rate you change their whole look. I rate you.
Yeah.
You go difference. Sasha mustn't have a normal look. Naomi mustn't be the glow character that she had. That must change.
That died out long ago.
Yeah, that died out.
To be honest.
After she lost her title, that died out.
Yep. Yep.
So what I was also thinking is, could they just come back as total separate entities? Sasha come back as a heel. Sasha heel is always a good thing. And
Always.
Naomi come back in the bloodline. That could be an option. But I feel like the bloodline's going to die at some point, so it might not be a good option.
That's what I was about to say.
I think it's too late for that.
From what I'm hearing from you, I think from what I'm hearing from people, including yourselves, is that the bloodline's time is very limited.
Yeah.
And so it could be that Naomi adds a breath of fresh air into the bloodline.
Could be that Naomi... Could be that Naomi is the one to cause disruption in the bloodline. Being married to one of them. I'm not sure which one.
Jimmy.
Maybe she eventually turns back to her face character that she's been all these years while being in the bloodline, and with being married to Jimmy starts turning him back to a face character, trying to convince him, and that causes disruption with Jay. Because I even saw it a little bit on SmackDown last week with Sammy. Jimmy was all nice to Sammy, and Jay was like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that could work. And that would go back to Jimmy and Jay, their whole situation when Jay joined Roman. In the beginning. Way back when, which feels like 5 years ago now.
It really does. It really does. I think if we're splitting the bloodline into individuals, that would work. But
like the
if
DCC,
we're splitting,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get you.
But if we're splitting the Usos from Roman Reigns, then I feel like because they've been on Roman Reigns' side or by Roman Reigns' side for so long, they wouldn't feel like a bloodline. They'd feel like a tag team again.
Which is fine though.
And I feel like it is. I'm not saying that it's not. But then if we have Naomi as a manager / part of the trio, then
that could work.
That would work. That would work.
Yeah.
Especially if we intend on keeping the championships on the Usos, at least one of them.
It gives them
Let's
a way.
Raw Tag Team Champions.
Gives them a way out, and gives them something to do thereafter.
Yeah. Because I feel I've made it no secret that I feel like the Usos are the best tag team in the world right now. Okay, not right now, but yeah, FTR definitely right now, FTR. But they're up there.
Yeah,
you know,
top two.
And so I feel like you could give them the Raw Tag Team Champions and strip them from the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and they could still do wonders. You know, they don't need all 4 titles.
No.
So if you could give them one brand's tag team titles and give Naomi one brand's women's champion and run it with that would make us forget that Roman Reigns isn't even around, you know, because it would be like the bloodline is continuing, but now it's the Usos.
And I would even make Naomi the leader.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of like what I'm seeing Rhea is for Judgment Day.
Rhea Ripley.
Kind of like that, where she's controlling these two guys, and they just listening to everything she says, basically.
I was getting to that because I mean, I think even creative sees Rhea as the leader of the Judgment Day.
I think they're slowly going towards that.
They did nothing before Rhea came back.
Yeah, they were just floating around, literally.
Exactly, and now they're featured heavily, and Rhea's always there, locking Dominic between her thighs and all that. But that's not the point. The point is, it would be great to have Naomi in a similar position, because it may seem like ladies in stables are just managers, but they're leaders, you know. They're leaders. They're the calming force in tag team. Think of the mega powers, you know.
Yeah.
Elizabeth was the downfall, but she was also, you know, the glue.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah.
And so
I see what
she
you're saying.
takes on more of a leader role. They take on more of a leader role, which would be great for Naomi. I feel like
it'll elevate her, give her something new and fresh.
Yeah.
If she can work that role, because she's not a great talker. I'll be honest.
But then again, she makes a lot of noise.
But then again, she might not be a great talker as a face. She might be a great heel speaker. Like, for example, Cora Jade on NXT, her heel promos are so much better than her face promos.
Yeah.
So that could be a factor. So, and then for Sasha, what do we do with her if they go separate? Does she go her own way, do her whole heel persona, or what?
My thing, now listen to me, this is going to sound horrible until you give it thought. I see you getting disappointed already. But I feel like, think of Evolution.
Okay.
And then add Sasha to the trio of Bayley, Io, and Dakota. I feel like Sasha could be the Ric Flair of the group, right? And I mean that with all the respect in the world to Sasha Banks. But she could be the vet of the group who has, I mean, not even arguably, accomplished more than Bayley, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like because it hasn't been established that Bayley is the leader, we know she is, but it's not something that's been publicized as such.
Yeah.
You could easily add a fourth member.
Yeah.
And that could be Sasha.
Yeah.
And
or Bayley could still stay the leader. She could be the Triple H,
yeah,
Flair, and Sasha be the Ric Flair.
Exactly.
But I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. Because
I know you're not.
I'm not sure if it'll devalue Io and Dakota. Give them.
It won't if you give them the tag team championships.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
If you give them the tag team championships,
although
then
those
they
championships are worth literally this 5-cent coin is what those championships are worth.
That's true. And we're hoping for better booking with this new tournament and this new direction.
Yeah. So if this works out, then I agree that could work.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing of adding them to Bayley's faction.
Yeah. But now, if we move it like that, then we'd have to say that for it to be credible, for it to be an evolution, they'd all have to have gold.
Yeah.
Which could be a problem. Which could be a big problem.
Yeah,
because
they
the women's division does not have a mid card.
Yeah. That could be a problem.
And that's something we're talking about. Because we can't have one of them not having a championship. Because that makes that one person the least credible of the group.
Yeah, true.
You know?
True.
So that's where the downfall could come from, a 4-person stable like that. But I feel like if it's booked well, or the women's tag team championships are treated well, it could work.
That could be the way out. Bayley doesn't have the gold. Sasha come back. Bayley destroys the group eventually. Then we get Hugger Bayley back. Then we all get hugs from Bayley. Happy days.
Do we want hugs from Bayley?
Move on. Let's end it. Let's wrap up. I'm not gonna answer that. Let's wrap up.
So yeah, I mean, so final thoughts, right? They could come back as a tag team, win the women's tag team championships that they never lost, and make them mean something. Because I feel like they are a very good tag team, and they could be sent to do the job of making those things mean something, right? That would be great. That would be amazing. But if they want to split them up, I think, like we said, Naomi joins the Usos, and they become great because they're all good workers. Yes, Naomi's heel work may need to be, made to look nice, but it could work. And then Sasha Banks goes and joins the trio that is up and coming. Yeah. And we see a female evolution. And I feel they could also make that work just as well. So those are my final thoughts, Mr. WrestleDrop.
I tend to agree. Have Naomi join the bloodline, or have them come back as these face characters that are badasses against the company, against the regime, against all of that. Even though it might not make too much sense with John Laurinaitis and Vince. I almost forgot his name. Don't ask me how. I'm trying to put it in the past, trying to leave it in the 80s where he should have stopped. Go against them, even though it wouldn't make sense because they're gone, but you could still try to run with it. Could still say there's other people in the back, which there probably is. But yeah, I think coming back as straight baby faces, not an option. Because of storytelling. Not that they wouldn't get cheered, because they'll get cheered. They'll get a huge pop.
Either way.
Either way. So
to put you on the spot, as a wrestling fan, as a wrestling fan, as someone who tunes into the product, not because it's your job, but because you love wrestling, what would make you tune in to WWE every week? Seeing them as a tag team or seeing them separately in the storylines that we just mentioned?
It's tough. Depends what's up a tag team. If they in a feud with S.A.W.O and Dakota, with maybe someone else that we don't even think of right now joining them to take on them, Bailey, I'm down for that. A long-term feud. But we already know that's going to be Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka. Yeah. So I think as a tag team, they're limited. But they could come straight in as badasses. But then I'm not sure how you transition to, for instance, Naomi going to Bloodline. If that's going to happen, it's got to happen straight off the bat. Straight from the comeback. I don't think there's a way to transition from them being a tag team to that. So it's tough. I think what'll get me to tune in is probably them as a tag team for the beginning. Because they left together, they're going to come back together. Whereas the Bloodline stuff, I think the Bloodline situation is getting a little bit stale as it is. Roman's barely on TV. And I don't think Naomi's going to make me watch it with Roman being gone. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Whereas as a tag team, I think it might make a difference. Especially with the tournament happening on Raw. Especially with that.
Biggest plot twist, Dana Brooke and Carmella are your new women's tag team champions.
Bro, it's Dana Brooke's lucky day. She got mentioned in 2 Stomp videos back to back. Back to back. If you're watching this, then give us a shout out. I doubt she's watching it. Hey, you never know.
It'll get to her eventually.
I don't think her mentions are very full on Twitter and that, so it'll probably get to her.
That's true. That's very true.
I think her phone's a bit dry with those notifications. Nobody really gives a shit. So.
I don't trust these superstars who use their real names on social media. But anyway, that's just me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another Stomp Wrestling video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave us a like on the video. Costs absolutely nothing. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to follow myself, Mr. WrestleDrop, Mr. MPKH, Mr. MKM Wrestling, the Fire of Pro Wrestling, Bloodmouth, all South African wrestling content creators. Don't forget to give us a follow on all our social media platforms. Drop it down in the comments what you think is going to happen with Sasha and Naomi. And until the next one, it's been your boy, the Beanie Boy. They want to take my beanie off, but
it's coming off.
You'll know more about that.
You'll
know more about that in another video. It's been your boy, the South African Wrestling Observer, and Mr. No Days Off, Mr. WrestleDrop. And that was just too sweet.